Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Rich Bradley, President of the Board of Public Service. This is the regular meeting of the Board of Public Service for Tuesday, May 14th, 2024. This is a public meeting and there are no hearings, there are no lettings today, but we do have one hearing which we'll address at this time. Hearing number 132150-RH is being conducted pursuant to section 26.100.030 of the revised code of the city of St. Louis. The purpose of this hearing is to determine whether to revoke the conditional use permit numbered as 132150 issued for Neighbors Market CO Vincer Management Inc. to occupy 1310 North Grand Boulevard to operate a gas station and convenience store with cooking and no liquor. The parties have been notified of the violations of the conditions of this conditional use permit in writing by certified mail, along with the posted notice of today's hearing date. This hearing has been convened in order to address the issues surrounding conditions number 1, 2, 5, 6, 8, 14, and 15 of the conditional use permit, and the conditions and questions are as follows. Condition 1, the hours of operation shall be limited to 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Condition number 2, the petitioner shall provide a commercial dumpster, establish a trash removal contract through a private source for regular pickups, and maintain the entire premise in a clean and orderly appearance at all times. Condition 5, there shall be no sale of items that can be used or intended for the use as drug paraphernalia as defined in Ordinance 68404 or successor ordinances, including but not limited to food scales, glass tubes, disposable lighters with pop-off tops, steel scrubbing pads and screens, ephedrine or pseudoephedrine, diet supplements, sleep aids, bath salts, or other substitutes for illegal drugs. In addition, tobacco products shall be sold in the original packaging only. Condition 6, there shall be no loitering, for which a petitioner must post a no loitering sign and enforce it. Condition 8, the petitioner must apply for and receive a permit from the City of St. Louis Building Division before posting signage, and the signage must be professionally prepared and approved by the Office of Zoning Administrator before being installed. Condition 14, the petitioner is to have a licensed and bonded professional security guard present at the business from 4 p.m. until close 7 days a week. And condition 15, the premise shall not become a nuisance property per Ordinance 68535 or successor ordinances. The Office of Zoning Administrator has the burden to prove the conditional use permit conditions have not been complied with. After all evidence of the zoning administrator has been presented, the board will ask for additional testimony, if any, in support of this revocation. Then the conditional use holder will be given the opportunity to present evidence. Lastly, the board will hear other testimony in opposition to the revocation, if any. The testimony today is being recorded. When you come forward, please state your name and address and be sworn in. As you testify, please direct your comments to the board and not to those in the audience. Members of the audience are asked to remain silent and not coach the witnesses. During your testimony, members of this board may have questions for you. Following the hearing, the board will proceed with its regular agenda. Following the conclusion of the regular agenda, the board will deliberate, discuss, and vote on the hearing. The board will notify the conditional use holder of its decision by mail in about 2 weeks. The Board of Public Service has in its possession the following documents which are being introduced into evidence. Item 1, a certified copy of the zoning code of the City of St. Louis. Item 2, a memorandum dated April 22nd, 2024, from the zoning plan examiner to the zoning administrator, stating that on March 19th, 2024, the zoning inspector found violations of conditions number 1, 2, 5, 6, 8, and 14 of the conditional use permit. This memo includes photographs of those violations. The condition, number 3, the conditional use permit numbered as 132150, issued for Neighbors Market, CO Vincere Management, Inc. to occupy 1310 North Grand Boulevard to operate a gas station and convenience store with cooking and no liquor. 4, a letter dated April 23rd, 2024, sent to Vincere Management, Inc., CO Arif Alana at 1310 North Grand Boulevard from the board secretary, warning of the violations of conditions number 1, 2, 5, 6, 8, and 14 of the permit that were found upon a recent site inspection and providing notice for today's hearing. Item 5, photographs of the notice of today's hearing posted outside 1310 North Grand Boulevard. And item 6, a copy of the public notice posted for today's hearing. At this time, the board asks a representative of the Office of Zoning Administrator to please come forward and be sworn in.
Thank you, Sandy. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give at this hearing shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Please state your name for the board.
My name's Sandra Long, Acting Zoning Inspector for the city. Good afternoon, President Bradley and board members. On my visit, I had recent visits at the site on May 13th and 14th on 2024. I found the following conditions to still be in violation. Condition number 2, the petitioner shall provide a commercial dumpster and establish a trash removal contract through a private source, irregular pickups, and maintain the entire premises in clean and orderly appearance at all times. There's a dumpster with a lot of trash around it. Number 5, there shall be no sale of items that can be used or are intended for use as drug paraphernalia as defined in Ordinance 68404 or its successor ordinances, including but not limited to food scales, glass tubes, disposable lighters with pop-off tops, steel scrubbing pads and screens, ephedrine, pseudoephedrine, diet supplements, sleep aids, bath salts, or either other substitutes for illegal aids. In addition, tobacco products shall be sold in original packaging only. I saw some diet supplements and some UPass urine for passing drug tests. Number 6, there shall be no loitering for which the petitioner must post a no loitering sign and enforce it. While the security guard was there when I was there on yesterday, he was actually telling people to leave, but today when I was there, there were people loitering on the side of the building. There was quite a few of them. And number 8, the petitioner must apply for and receive a permit from the City of St. Louis Building Division before posting signage. And the signage must be professionally prepared and approved by the Office of the Zoning Administrator before being installed. The petitioner called me about 11:30 and said he applied for a sign permit today and sent me a copy of the permit and the receipt. And number 15, the premises shall not be issued a public nuisance notice pursuant to 68535 or its successor ordinances. As a note, let's see what I have here. There was a lot of signs posted around the building saying their hours were 8 to 11. And when I did talk to them, they said they were closing at 11. I did not go out after 11 to verify that they are closed. So that would make the security guard one be in compliance if he's there from 4 to 11. But I did not go out after 11 p.m. to check to make sure. That's all.
Okay, so now I'm going to start and ask a couple questions. Sandy, have you
Okay.
had an opportunity to speak with the conditional use permit holder?
Yes, I have spoken with every time I've gone out there, I've talked to the manager of the store and I talked to the owner 2 different times.
Okay, and in your opinion, was the manager of the store and the owner cooperative with what we're requesting?
Yes, I think they are, and it has improved some, but it's still got issues, but they have been very cooperative with me.
Because it seems to me these are all relatively basic items that could be resolved within a couple days' time at the very most, if not a couple hours' time, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. At this point, I'll open the floor up for any other questions from any of our other board members.
Yes, Ms. Long, thanks for your testimony, and President Bradley, I took the words right out of my mouth about minor things that need to be rectified and can be rectified expeditiously, and so we can avoid a hearing such as this. So that's just some comments from me as well. It's exactly what I was thinking. Nothing major, and it's good to hear they're cooperative because they need to rectify these things.
Great. Thank you, Director. Other questions or comments from any of our other board directors?
Yes, I have one question. Can you tell us, I know you said you've been in communication with the owner and the store manager. How long has this been going on, or has it
So
gotten?
the first time I had the first time I had the complaint, when I went out there, I went in and talked to the manager and gave him a copy of his conditional uses. And he had the owner of the store on the phone at that time, wanted me to talk to him. I told him to call me at work. He did not call me at work until 2 days ago. I said, he can call me at work, he can email me, anything he wants to do, and he did not. So I heard from him a few days ago. That would be Sonny. I'm not sure if he says he's the owner. He didn't give me his last name. So I told him to email me the executed documents for the security guard, and that he could ask me with any questions. So he just talked to me a couple of days ago. So then I guess when he got posted the other day, he called me and sent me the receipts for the security guard. And then this morning he called me to tell me that he had the building permits. But I have touched base with him. Every time I go out there, I touch base with the manager of the store.
Okay. Other questions? Well, Alderwoman Keys, I see you're in here right now. We're doing board directors. I will give you the respect as elected official and allow you to speak. Can you unmute, please?
Okay, there it is. Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, and I apologize. I'm homesick, a very bad cold. These issues and more have been going on for quite some time. I drive past the gas station anywhere from 3 to 4 times daily, traveling downtown to different meetings in other areas of the ward. For quite some time, I would call Sonny and make him aware of an issue that I just observed, and he, oh, I'll take care of it. But I can't hold hands with any business for them to do their business. There obviously is some problem with them having control of the station. I passed by one day, there are guys out there with these gigantic pit bulls. I don't know what that was about. Um, I've sat on the lot across the street and watched hand-to-hand drug sales, and there's supposed to be a security guard there working. I think there's a failure on the part of the security company that is hired. They are ineffective. Also, management is ineffective with getting this gas station under control. Um, the prostitutes that are on the lot who carry the small blankets. These are the things, like I said, I'm sitting across the street and I'm just watching. And management isn't coming out to do or say anything. At any given point, I'll see as many as 15 cars out there. Nobody's buying gas. What are they buying? There is a lot of activity at this gas station that is not related to purchasing items from inside the store or outside the store for that matter. The violations that were found, yeah, they might be minor, but there's some bigger problems here at work. And that's what we want to see brought under control as a community.
Thank you, Alderwoman Keys, for your testimony. If I may ask a question, and then I'll allow the board to ask you any questions. So am I assuming from your testimony that you are supporting the revocation of this conditional use permit? Or just
Yes, I am.
withdrawing?
Yes, I am.
Supporting the revocation? Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions for Alderwoman Laura Keys? Okay, thank you, Alderwoman Keys. Very much appreciate your time. Hope you feel better.
Thank you.
So at this time, if there's anyone else present who wishes to testify that the noted conditions have not been complied with, that you're in support of the revocation, please come forward at this time. Michelle, is there anybody in office with you?
No, there's not.
Okay, and I don't see anyone else on the screen besides Alderwoman Keys. If there's anyone else here, one more time, support a revocation. If you haven't spoken, please bring it to my attention. Okay, thank you very much. At this time, we will go to the conditional use permit holder. Please come forward and be sworn in.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you swear him in, please?
Sure. Please raise your right hand. Thank you. The testimony that you're about to give before this board shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Please state your name and your address for the board.
Sonny Narani, 1310 North Grand Boulevard.
And can you please respond to the condition violations and the commentary from Alderwoman Keys concerning your business, sir?
Yes, sir. So first and foremost, I'd like to apologize for the issues that have been surrounding the property. We inherited a lot of problems from the previous owner, which is not an excuse, but we are working to rectify the situation and fix the problems as we're encountering them. We've encountered a lot of resistance because the old owners of the property had been there for so long that a lot of the behavior had been ingrained into the customer base, that they could just hang out on the lot and, you know, basically conduct themselves however they chose. We are taking positive measures in order to rectify the situation. We started out with one armed security guard. Now we have two armed security guards in order to combat the situation that Alderwoman Keys described. The second guard recently came on board as of the last 2 weeks, as we realized that one guard was not enough. I mean, he was, but we were wanting to rectify the situation in a quicker manner, and we realized that having two guards would be better than one. So we've added a second additional security guard. As far as the items that were for sale that were not allowed, there's no excuse for that. But however, there is a reason. There was a box in the back of merchandise from the old owners that we had removed off of the shelf. An employee, being over enthusiastic, trying to clean up the store, displayed all of them out for sale. Again, not an excuse. We should have caught it. Should have never happened. In order to rectify that situation, we've taken all of those items off the shelf, and instead of putting them in the back, we've disposed of them in a proper manner, so that will never happen again. We're sending out, we do have a commercial dumpster as far as the trash around the area. Now there's two shifts of the store. Both shifts now go out to monitor the parking lot, and daily I get pictures sent to my phone, morning shift and evening shift, to make sure that the parking lot is free and clear of all trash. We've attempted to do the landscaping twice, plant bushes, basically make the property more appealing and more beautiful from the street. We removed all the signage from the property that covered up the windows in order to offer good line of sight. We've applied for the sign permit. The sign had been there for a long time. It pre-existed when I got there, so we have no idea how long it's been there. But we realized the proper permits weren't applied for the sign, so we applied for those sign permits as well, in order to rectify that situation as well. Again, these are not excuses. We should have done a better job from the get-go, but we do ask that you guys give us another chance to rectify all of the problems and help us become good business owners in the community that people can speak highly of. And I do want to address Alderwoman Keys' complaints. I do want to apologize to her and I know she speaks for the community, and I want to ask her for another opportunity to prove that we can be good stewards of the community.
Thank you for that testimony. Before we open the floor up for questions, I just want to make a comment and a clarification, because I think this is very important for businesses to understand that have a conditional use. So you are granted a conditional use by this board to operate your business in a area that is not zoned for that, and predominantly because it's residential. So you are a guest in a neighborhood. You are there at their will and their pleasure. And so what I always like to say is, when you're a guest in somebody's house, you should act like a guest in somebody's house and go above and beyond to make sure that, you know, complaints like this don't come in. So when we get a complaint like this, typically it's a condition or two. It's generally not a whole laundry list of conditions. I do hear you and I do understand your concerns, but I also hear the alderwoman as the representative of the neighborhood, and believe that, you know, there's two sides to every story. So, you know, I just want to give you that little bit of background, and depending on what the board decides, understand that you are there as a guest in that neighborhood. So at this time, I'll open the floor up for any other board directors that would like to ask any questions from the conditional use permit holder.
I do have a question. This is Director Pearson. Thank you to the owner or owners, I don't know who's in the vehicle, for your candor and insight. I wanted to follow up with a question about about the security that you have partnered with on the site. So you said you just hired an additional security officer, bringing the total up to 2. Could you tell us about the shifts they're working? Do they work simultaneously? Are the shifts spaced out? Is there any time in which you're operating that there's no coverage from security?
So the security teams are overlapping. During the busiest hours, there's 2 security guards, just to make it easier to monitor. In the evening hours, as Sandy testified, the buildings behind us have been demolished, so it's empty land. So when there's 2 guards, it's easier for one to stay posted in front of the building, the other guard to maintain a road, to do the round, to make sure that nobody's loitering behind the property, on the side of the property, etc.
Okay, further questions from our board members? Okay, see no further questions. Before we move on to opposition to the revocation, I would like to go back to Alderwoman Keys for just a moment. Alderwoman, you've heard the testimony now from our conditional use permit holder. Any general thoughts you want to share with us?
Well, I do have a gentleman who works late night, and he leaves work after midnight, and for several weeks during the month of April, he would report to me that they were open when he was on his way home, because he was released from work at midnight, and so it's just, I think that for them to have been there as long as they are, these are ongoing patterns of behavior. That's what I see. And like I said, as an alderman, we've got so many businesses throughout the ward. And as you said, Commissioner Bradley, that they're a guest in our community. Closing on time. I got complaints that they were charging sales tax on food stamp purchases. These are things that I know as a business owner, you have to know better. And if your number one job is to protect your business, and they haven't been doing that. I have been very supportive at first, and taking a watchful eye at the different things that are going on, but I'm continuously seeing the same violations over and over and over again. It becomes a pattern of behavior. And so, like I said, I can't babysit. I can't, pick up a phone, every time I pass by to tell you what's going on at your shop, you know, as the owner or whoever is working inside there, that not only do they have to watch the register, they've got to watch the surrounding area and the lot. And that's not happening. I mean, these behaviors, anytime you can just sit right across the street and just watch and shake your head, that is so shocking to watch the blatant hand-to-hand drug sales, the guy with the little black plastic bag passing drugs, the prostitutes, you know, who get into the cars and pull the blankets over their heads to service customers. This is no, it's too much. This is not what should be in our community.
Thank you, Alderwoman, again. Any further questions for Alderwoman Keys from the board members? Thank you very much. So at this time, I'll ask if there's anyone present who opposes this revocation that wishes to testify. Please come forward and be sworn in. Michelle, again, I'm assuming there is no one in your office with you,
No, there's not.
and I see no one online. If you're here to testify opposing this revocation, please bring it to my attention at this time.
Hi, Commissioner, how are you? Hello,
Yes,
hi, my name is Johnny Malik Sims.
hang on a
and
second. Let's get you sworn in, please.
Please raise your right hand, please. Thank you. The testimony that you're about to give before this board shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Please state your name and address for the board.
Donnell Malik Sims, 2161 Thurman Avenue, Apartment G, St. Louis, Missouri, 63110.
Please
Um,
proceed.
Yes, and so I work quite closely in monitoring the community in all, in different wards. Alderwoman Keys is 100% correct in that she lended a hand, she called, she tried,
Okay, I think we lost the individual. Is anyone else still online at this time? Okay, seeing none, the matter concerning hearing number 132150 RH is now closed and submitted. The board will now proceed with its regular agenda. Can you call the roll, please?
Director Coyle, Director Davis, Director. Present. Thank you. Director Hayes,
Present.
Director Pearson.
Present.
Director Scobie,
Present.
Director Williams,
Present.
President Bradley.
Present, we have a quorum. We'll call a meeting order.
President Bradley, the clients are back on. Did you want to continue with the regular business or did you want to?
Yes, I'd like to hear what the gentleman has to say if everybody's in agreement with that. Please proceed, sir.
Yes, and so Alderwoman Keys is 100% on point. She would call Sonny. She would, try to coach him through. He can't always be there, and I expressed to the owner, Sonny, Alderwoman Keys' position. He's new at it. He's trying. I have seen him double up security. I went there personally. Both Alderwoman Keys and I would monitor the situation, and we would tell them when there's a problem. I went there personally. I spoke with Miss Sandy after she said, hey, there's a problem up here. I went in personally, went through, found all of the paraphernalia, moved it out. And so, just on, their behalf, like you said, commissioners, there's two sides. I definitely understand and know what Alderwoman Keys is saying to be true. And so, but they're new owners and they're trying, and I explained to them, there is no excuse. You have to give the reason for what's going on and just throw yourself on the mercy. So.
But let me ask a question. So I've heard two different things here. New owners, how long has this owner been operating the business?
2 months, 2.5 months.
Two and a
And
half
he
months.
inherited a lot of problems. And Alderwoman Keys and I tried to walk him through it, you know. So,
All right, other questions from any of our board members? Okay, thank you, sir, for your testimony. Again, we will return to our regular agenda. Please mute your microphone, sir, and you can continue on with regular business, Michelle.
Thank you. Regular business from the president. Recommendation that approval be given as follows. Amendment number 1 to Equipment Services Division, Service Contract Number 74010 for diesel fuel injection pump service with Mid-South Power Distribution, Inc. This first amendment extends the termination of the contract to February the 28th, 2026, and increases the contract maximum not to exceed amount to $20,000. Amendment number 3 to Equipment Services Division, Service Contract Number 74044, repair and service for fuel dispensing pumps and lubricating service with Newmeyer Equipment Company. This first amendment extends the termination of the contract to February the 28th, 2026, and increases the contract maximum not to exceed amount to $65,000, including $325,000 for fiscal year 25 and $325,000 for fiscal year 26. Amendment number 1 to the plans and specifications for letting number 8771. Terminal 1 Departures Bridge over Bad Claim Drive, which has been issued to clarify questions submitted by prospective bidders and to indicate changes described and shown in the plans and specifications. Addendum number 1 to plans and specifications for letting number 8772, reconstruction of Hamilton Bridge over the Metrolink, BPS project number 2018-40-085, federal project number BRO-B115, which has been issued to clarify questions submitted by prospective bidders and to indicate changes described and shown in plans and specifications. Plans and specifications for letting number 8774 for concrete, brick removal, replacement, and complete sidewalk installation. The estimated cost of this work is $900,000 and is authorized and funded by ARPA Fane SLFRP 1969. Supplemental Agreement number 2 to PSA number 1243 for Public Safety Answering Point Facility with FGM Architects in the amount of $2,877,544. This supplemental agreement is amended to modify the scope of work and is authorized by ordinance number 70435. Supplemental Agreement number 15 to PSA number 1228 for civil, structural, surveying, and geotechnical design services at Lambert International Airport with Engineering Design Source, Inc. in the amount of $63,910.36. This supplemental agreement is amended to modify the scope of work and is authorized by ordinance number 71657. From the Office of Special Events, request for the following to be approved, subject to certain conditions. There are 5 special events to be declared as festival zones. Number 1, Annie Malone will take place on Market from Jefferson to 7th Street on May 19th from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Setup and teardown will start on May 18th at 10 a.m. and end on May 19th at 6 p.m. Number 2, Circus Flora will take place on Samuel Shepherd from Josephine Baker to Teresa and Josephine Baker from Samuel Shepherd to Delmar on May 27th to June 26th from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. for event support only. Number 3, Blues at the Arch will take place on Washington Avenue between 1st and 2nd Street on August 9th from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. and August 10th from 12 p.m. to 9 p.m. Number 4, Grub and Groove will take place in Francis Park on August 10th from 3 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. Setup and tear down will start on August 9th at 8 a.m. and end on August 11th at 3 a.m. Number 5, Sumner High School homecoming will take place in Tandy Park on Cottage between Annie Malone and Billups on October 19th from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. From the Director of Public Utilities, recommendation that the board declares as emergency action the following. All labor, parts, and equipment to remove, inspect, and refurbish pump number 3 at the distribution pumping station at the Chain of Rocks Water Treatment Plant. This critical equipment serves to pump potable water into the distribution system. The estimated cost of this work is $37,000. All labor, parts, and equipment to inspect and restore the impeller and fabricate parts for spare pump number 3 at the distribution pumping station at the Chain of Rocks Water Treatment Plant. This critical equipment serves to pump potable water into the distribution system. The estimated cost of this work is $63,000. Contractor assistance with water main and fire hydrant repairs due to ongoing staffing shortages. The estimated cost is $255,000. From the Director of Streets, recommendation that the following be approved, subject to certain conditions. Application number 132243, request by Best Friends Pet Care Inc. to encroach with banners on 2 light poles in front of 5215 Manchester Avenue between Macklin and Kings Highway. From the Directors of Public Safety and Utilities, joint recommendation that the following be approved, subject to certain conditions. Request by Willie Shields to consolidate 5433 and 5439 Gilmore Avenue to build a garage in City Block 5128. Request by Banjack and Associates LLC to subdivide the lot at 4430 Laclede Avenue in half and consolidate the east and west half into the lots at 4428 and 4434 Laclede Avenue in City Block 3992. Request by We Engineers, Inc. to adjust the boundaries between 4327 and 4335 McCree Avenue in City Block 4974. Request by Good Journey Development Foundation to consolidate the 2 lots at 5059 and 5065 Vernon Avenue in City Block 5152. From the Directors of Public Utilities and Streets, joint recommendation that the following be approved, subject to certain conditions. Request by Grimes Consulting for a street dedication plat for Preservation Square Development in City Blocks 594, 1830, and 1831. Joint recommendation that 3 applications from AT&T be approved, subject to certain conditions. Application number 32 for 4565 McCree Avenue. Application number 34 for 4801 Natural Bridge Avenue. Application number 35 for 5020 Waterman. Joint recommendation is that 1 application for Verizon be approved, subject to certain conditions. Application number 38 for 760 South 2nd Street. There are no conditional use permits for today's meeting.
Thank you, Michelle. First, we will handle hearing number 123-150-RH for 1310 North Grand gas station and convenience store with no liquor. We heard from our zoning inspector that as of today, there are still a number of conditions that are in violation, although Sandra did indicate that the conditional use permit holder is amicable to making the changes to those. But the added condition today that is of concern is condition 15 about nuisance property. We also heard from Alderwoman Laura Keys in support of this revocation concerning a number of items, but generally the nuisance property and other associated issues. We heard from our conditional use permit holder, and he explained to us that he would work with the city to rectify these conditions that are in question and agrees that they are problems and is doing what he can to rectify those and will continue to do that. And we also heard from one other person in opposition to the revocation, another gentleman who indicated that the alderperson was correct in her delivery, but that this is relatively a new business and that he has worked with the business owner as well as the alderperson to try to bring these issues to the conditional use holder in an attempt to resolve them. So with that brief summary, I would like to open the floor for discussion from our board members.
I think my concern is, so I know that we're supposed to rule on these specific items that were mentioned in the revocation letter. But Alderwoman Keys brought up a concern that I think is pretty salient for the conversation, but I don't know if it's appropriate to discuss it here. But the fact, I think she alleged that the business owner charges a sales tax on SNAP benefits, which of course is not allowed. And so I don't know if that, to me, even though that's not our purview, I don't know if there's any sort of investigation that's done for that, or if that should be taken into account as far as what to look at for any additional conversation. But I think the fact that that was brought up in an on-the-record meeting sort of, flagged for me that there could be some other practice issues here aside from what we're discussing today. I'm just throwing that out there.
No, you are correct in your delivery, and we are generally tied to conditions that are in question as part of our assessment of the conditional use permit holder, and I will ask Nancy Walsh to opine behind me on this, but I would assume that that information could be passed along to the appropriate authorities, as that is not under our purview, correct?
That's right.
So we should not take that, though, into account as part of our consideration today, correct?
That's not one of the conditions on the conditional use permit. It's not directly related to it, so.
Correct. Okay. All right. Other questions or comments from board directors?
I do have a question, I think, or a comment maybe. I understand Alderwoman Keys and the frustration that she's having, but then I also understand, and I would hope that it was a true statement when they said they've only been there for 2 months. And I think that it may speak volumes to what Sandra said, that they've been working with her, they've been trying to fulfill what's outlined, that they're doing wrong, they're trying to correct them. I think that maybe we should give them a little more time, and with the hope that they can correct. But then I don't want to set someone up for failure in the end when there's things that probably will never be corrected either. So it's because some of that's behavior, like that's out of his control of what's happening. So I'm kind of torn, but I honestly think that if you look at what was brought before us today, what we're to vote on or make a decision on, I think they're moving in a positive direction. With a little more time, we may see change in those items.
Duly noted. Thank you, Director. Other questions or comments? I just want to remind everybody that, if we were to revoke this, they do have an appeal process through the Board of Adjustment. So this is not a 100% decision made. There are appeals to this as well. I do understand it's a new business. It very much concerns me when I hear things like sales of drugs and prostitution and things along those lines. That very much concerns me with, how a conditional use plays into a neighborhood. But I do understand the point that they're very new, and the owner did make some good points about, he is working on a previous owner's problem. So I do hear that loud and clear too. All right, any further comments or questions?
I do have one question, and I apologize if I missed this before, but could you please remind me, has this business, I mean, they've only been there for 2 months. Have they been in front of us before, or the excuse me, the previous owner?
I don't recall that. Sandra or Mary Hart Burton, could you respond to that question from the director? Sandra Long or Mary Hart Burton, could you guys respond to whether?
I'm looking up their occupancy right now to see if,
Ah, great, thank you. Sorry, didn't mean to be impatient.
no, that's okay.
We'll have an
Um,
answer in a minute.
this convenience store did not have a conditional use permit. They did have one for cell phones from a waiver, but they've been there since 1997 at least. So they never had a conditional use permit until this past February when they were opened up. Oh, they opened before the hearing, actually. So just this past March, they got the conditional use.
Good. Director, does that answer your question?
It does. And then the second part of that is, I know in the past we had offered as an option, an amount of time in which a business owner could mitigate some of the issues. Could that be considered here?
Of course. So if there's no further discussions or questions, is there a motion?
I move that we give the business owner, I don't know if this is sufficient, but 2 months from today's date to mitigate all of the issues that have been noted in the revocation hearing document.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion before we vote? Seeing none, can you call the roll, please?
Director Coyle? Director Davis? Aye. Director Hayes?
Aye.
Director Pearson? Director Scobie?
Aye.
Director Williams?
Aye.
President Bradley?
Aye, we have given them 2 months extension to clear up all the conditions and issues that have been brought to us today. Thank you. At this time, I'll turn your attention to our meeting minutes from Tuesday, May 2nd, 2024. Are there any questions or comments on the meeting minutes as presented? Seeing none, I'll ask for a motion to approve, please.
Motion to approve Williams.
Second, Hayes.
Thank you. Can you call the roll, please?
Director Coyle? Director Davis? Aye. Director Hayes?
Aye.
Director Pearson?
Aye.
Director Scobie?
Aye.
Director Williams?
Aye.
President Bradley?
Aye, the meeting minutes are approved. Today's agenda, are there any questions or comments on today's BPS meeting agenda?
Motion to approve, Hayes.
Second, Scobie. Thank you, directors. Can you call the roll, please?
Director Davis? Aye. Director Hayes?
Aye.
Director Pearson?
Aye.
Director Scobie?
Aye.
Director Williams,
Aye.
President Bradley.
Aye, today's BPS agenda is approved. Any comments or questions from any of our board directors before we adjourn today? Looking forward to seeing all your bright and shiny faces this evening. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved, Hayes.
Second Davis?
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Being adjourned. Thank you all. See you
Thank
tonight.
you.
Have a good one.